Hey, what's going on, guys? It is your good friend Matt. We're back again here today at the only place that we always can be. You already know that is Matt's Wrestling Collectibles right here on YouTube. Today, this one's going to be a little bit different. It is something that we do often on the channel, but a little bit of a different topic, a little bit of a different story. As we have talked about Powertown previously, I am making this video in a little bit of a response or a subtle review of none other than the man himself, one of the absolute GOATs. It is Jim Cornette, and of course we are taking this from Cornette'S Drive-Thru. This is episode 408. And in this episode, there is about a half-hour segment or clip in that, I don't know how you want to say that, a snippet from the entire drive-through episode, which is, probably close to 2 hours or maybe somewhere around there. Might even be a little bit more than that. And I usually like to watch them this way because I like to kind of watch them by topic instead of trying to go through the whole thing. So it makes it a little bit easier if you're one of those people that likes to wait maybe a day or two. You get some of those topics that he does in clips, which is a lot nicer. You can kind of go through and check it out that way. And if you haven't already, make sure you get over to the official Jim Cornette on YouTube because he is always breaking down knowledge and giving us the gift of gab that he always has had since day one. Like I said, he is one of the GOATs. It is absolutely a fact. But this comes, like I said, from his drive-through episode 408. Jim Cornette and, of course, his partner here, Brian, they are discussing the Powertown situation that we are in and still in. So I'd like to kind of address a little bit of the things or a few of the things that he said in this episode. And one of the things that I want to jump right into first off here is we're kind of doing this like a podcast. You're not seeing me. I usually have the camera the other way, but on this podcast, in honor of none other than the GOAT himself, one of the GOATs, as I should say, it is none other than the Legends of Professional Wrestling. It is a limited edition variant, Jim Cornette. This is the fuchsia pink with that red undertone on the undershirt there underneath the suit. But a very cool Jim Cornette figure here. Recently just added this one to the collection. I chose this one as there is another version with a darker pink, but I figured with this pink here, you could maybe put him with the Heart Foundation. You could put him with, just about anybody, but it's a nice look, and I like this figure a lot. I'm happy to add him to the collection finally, and looking to add a few more of his figures down the road, of course. But neither here nor there, we are going to get into this right now, and we're going to talk about this. Jim Cornette breaking down some of the stuff here, and we do have this to the side. We might play a couple of little pieces throughout just to give you guys an idea or to kind of play off of what we're about to discuss. But Jim Cornette basically stating and really kind of giving us this extra insight on this topic because, of course, we've had many of people talk about this. We've had Kyle Peterson talk about it. I think Fig Heel has talked about it. I don't know if My Damn Toys has, taken any bit of content to his channel about this, but three of the major ones that I do follow, and there are so many more out there, as you guys already know. Also check out the Matt's Wrestling Collectibles family in the description of all our videos. You can definitely go and check them out. They will be more than happy to have you on their channels, on their pages, their profiles, their platforms. But as we go through with this here, like I said, Jim Cornette breaking down a lot of the inner workings of certain things that maybe not all of us are, invested in, where we don't have to think about it. We don't have to know about how this item that's in front of us, this amazing Legends of Professional Wrestling, Jim Cornette, how does it get to you? That is one of the things here where, Jim Cornette speaks on about how when he did his figures with Legends of Professional Wrestling here, which this is by Figure Toy Company, and a cool little fun fact here, Figure Toy Company FTC, they used to be based out of Cranston, Rhode Island, right here in Rhode Island, and it is amazing to think how many years I spent walking in the front door to go into their showroom to purchase from them directly. How amazing that is. Of course, they are located, and I think now out of Florida, but this is, a childhood memory for me. When I see these figures, it brings me back to walking into that store and just the immense amount of, merchandise that they had in there. It was insane. But these figures, a little bit newer, this Jim Cornette that's in front of us right here, I believe this is from about 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. I think it was somewhere right around or after the whole COVID ordeal. But Jim Cornette basically stating that, when he does his figures, when he is setting up to do these figures, he is very much in control. He is very much, doing what he has to do as really the main source of how everything gets done. Of course, the company is going to have them manufactured. They're going to get them all put together. But like Jim Cornette said, there are a very large amount of these figures. They also did some special edition box sets. I'm very much looking forward to getting one of those. That's going to be probably a birthday gift, either to myself or possibly from someone to me. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But, he has specific ones that were signed, that were autographed, certain people that signed them. Jim Cornette obviously signing them. And so when you're dealing with stuff like that, very direct, he is trying to give the consumer the best experience that they can. And of course, when you look at what's going on here, some of the things he said really started to make me question how much more faith can I put into Powertown, if any at all. And of course, we had a third update on Powertown. We've had, this will be kind of like the fourth update of this on the channel. And it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. There are a lot of things that I am starting to question more and more after listening to Mr. Cornette here talk about all the stuff that is going on, as far as like when Greg Gainzz got in touch with him. Greg Gainzz apparently told him that certain people were already signed through their contracts, through their deals. And, Jim Cornette, of course, is like, well, you're telling me that somebody I directly speak with is signed up to this. So what do you think I'm going to do? Hang up the phone and not call them to ask them and verify this information? And of course, Jim Cornette does just that, calls up, says, hey, Greg says that you're signed to this deal. What's going on? What are you talking about? I'm not signed to anything with him. And that's where this starts to even get a little bit scarier, because now, Jim said it almost word for word in this clip from his podcast. One thing that he said, that this is just, it's been kind of resonating with me since I watched this for the first time yesterday. I'll let you guys know I've watched this clip now 3 or 4 times over. And the thing he said that really struck me the most was that Greg Gainzz still lives in a world where he believes that he can say anything and it is not going to be essentially traced back to him. And, and his point was, this is not that era anymore. It is not the old school wrestling era where, really, when you think about it, up until probably the mid 2000s, there was not a whole lot of ways to figure out what was going on behind closed doors. Now, of course, kayfabe is, I don't want to say completely dead, but it is very much, it's on its deathbed. That is for sure. And unfortunately, there are always those times where it's great. We do get that little bit of dose of reality that we so desperately want within the professional wrestling world, where you don't really know, is this real, is it fake? And I don't want to say fake, but is it pre-planned? And there are so many things that we still strive for. We want to see every week in these storylines. And, to what Jim was saying, and I don't want to get too far off the topic, but to what Jim was saying, it was like, he still believes that he can tell you that something is happening, not happening, whatever, and that there is no trace to it, as opposed to where, hey, Greg, if you come out and tell people that this stuff has all been taken care of, you're going to have a notification come April that says you're going to get these figures, and it never happens. People can go and figure out where the truth is at, and where the lies are at as well. So unfortunately for Greg, I think the internet is going to be his worst enemy. He also was quoted, of course, by Jim and Brian. They both were, throwing out, like I said, I don't want to say, verbatim, but they were quotes. Essentially, Jim and Brian both said that Greg had mentioned that people were purchasing these and buying them all and reselling them on eBay for, over $2,000. And I can tell you right now, if that's the case, guys, please let me know. Head over to the MERCARI store page right now. I've got 3 Powertown figures. 2 are brand new in the box. 1 is new in the box with the seal broken, because it was taken out and used for an unboxing and review right here on the channel. But hey, head over to my MERCARI right now. Make sure you grab those up because I'm selling them for, I think, about $50, $60, maybe $75. Depends on which one you're looking at. But yeah, I mean, if they're going for over $2,000, man, you guys can head right over to my MERCARI, spend a quick, $200, and you're going to, get back about 10 times your investment. So make sure you get over there and do that right away. You can get the link to that in the description of this video. But as Jim continued to say, he also mentioned that that Greg was stating that these figures were going to be sold in potentially Walmart and Target. That is completely false. There is so much to continue to dig through here. And like I said, as he broke down some of what is going on, some of what Greg Gainzz is saying and being quoted with, it is starting to get a little bit scary on the side of the people that have the money out there. As I've said to you guys time and time again, I am very fortunate that I didn't go after every last item that they had available. There were some Remco style figures that I wanted, but I said, I'm going to pass on them. There were a couple other figures that they had. I think I even said I was going to pass on those as well. But I did pre-order the Ultras Series 2, and I pre-ordered the TNA Ultras Series 1. So right now, myself, I've got about $600 out there on the line, and unfortunately, as another point of this video that was brought up, Jim did state that there are people who are more than likely not going to receive anything, not going to get refunds, not going to get anything out of this. And where I get a little bit, like I said, even more concerned is it is not possible for you to take all of these people's money, mine included, many of the people that are watching this video, I'm sure, included as well. It is impossible for you to take that money and try to tell somebody that they are not going to get it back. And I think this it leads right in to another part. I'm not quoting Jim on this. I'm not quoting Brian. This is coming from me. But this is just the fact where, it seems very much that we have a situation of somebody who didn't have the initial startup funds to start or produce these figures, because I don't want to sit there and say that they didn't have the startup ability, because obviously we already had Series 1 Ultras. They already got to us. They're already in our hands. Hopefully all of you that, pre-ordered that or paid for any of those do have those. If you don't, that's a serious problem. But I have my whole Series 1 Ultras set still, all packaged. I have mine on display in my room. As you guys already know, I do my room tour, once a year. I always show those off because they're very cool figures. But it's just the fact that what is going to be the end result of this? You cannot take these people's money and expect that nothing is going to happen. I mean, that would just be absolutely insane. You're talking, here's me at $600. I mean, they've probably taken in well over, who knows, 600,000, maybe more. I mean, these figures are not cheap, guys. You already know that. And if we're going by pre-order, if they're saying, hey, we're just going to keep taking pre-orders and then make all of these figures, how many people pre-ordered? How many individual figures? How much does that total come out to? I mean, of course, I joke to say that I spent 600 and they've probably taken in 600,000, but that's probably not, a far cry from what really has gone on here. So the truth in all of this is we are starting to see the cracks shown. And when it comes to the pre-orders and, like I just said, all that money out on the line, Jim Cornette being, as many people may think that he is a bad guy, you know what I mean? It's sometimes it baffles me when people think that because somebody can speak with, a sword for a tongue and be able to just put people exactly where they need to be when they need to be there. Some people want to relate that to maybe somebody not being a genuine person, but I really believe that, Jim Cornette is a genuine person. I think his partner, Brian, is a very genuine person. I think what they are stating and talking about all the time through these podcasts, whether it's about WWE, AEW, an individual person, wrestling figures, whatever it may be, they're giving you the facts, the truth, and they are letting you know exactly what is going on. They are not cutting any corners. They are not trying to sugarcoat anything. They're giving it to you straight. And Jim Cornette flat out said they even gave him the option when times, I guess, changed a little bit through his production to take pre-orders. And he said, absolutely not. I am going to put out a set amount of figures that are paid for. People are going to pay for them. When they're gone, they're gone. That is it. I am not taking anybody's money with, the unsure, the unanswered questions of, will this be done when it's supposed to be done? Will it be achieved when the day says it will be? Like he said, I'm not going to take my chances of taking people's money, and the promise between the money and the item is sitting somewhere on a boat in the middle of the ocean in China. That is his whole thing, and I think he's 100% accurate. I think he could not be any more of hitting the nail on the head with these things. And as I stated, I was gonna play a few clips from this. Let's bring this here and see where we start off here around about the 5-minute mark. See where we're at.
Out in September of 2023. I also at the time said that the last thing that Bob Eaton signed before he died was the contract with Figures Toy Company to get these things in production.
Now, right there, he is stating that it was actually 2023. I think he just said when these figures were being planned. So like I said, I thought it was after COVID. I was a little bit off on that. But that's my point. He had these figures done back in 2023. You're looking at one of them right in front of you right now. And they've also, like I said, got other box sets and some other stuff like that. You can check it right out on Jim Cornette's official website, which I think you can even get the link right from his YouTube. But he's just stating about the signing of people and kind of where they were at this time. So let's see if we can jump a little bit ahead here.
Over the period of about a month or 6 weeks before that, that's when Greg Gainzz had gotten involved. Because, again, I'm sitting here at the house one day, minding my own business. Greg Gainzz calls. And he starts pitching me that, this is going to be the greatest thing. I've gotten together with one of the guys from Remco back in the 80s when we invented the wrestling figure business, and we're going to...
And as he's stating here, they got in touch and got into partnership with these guys from the Remco days. I'm not sure who else is in on that. I know they also had said, Magnum TA was in on it as well. But it just seems, though, that there is some type of issue here. And if there is some type of, triangle that we're dealing with, whether it's from, the source of production to the shipment to the consumer, there is something going on here that is just unfortunately not playing out the way that it should. And as we jump ahead a little bit here, about another 5 minutes.
Is signed up when he ain't signed up. So I said, as a matter of fact, I said, did they send you the contract yet? And he said, no. I said, well, tell them to send it to you and then send it to me.
And that right there was basically when Greg Gainzz had stated that somebody who was going to be signed with, Jim Cornette under this FTC figure line, they were just, essentially they were saying, like, as he's getting at, Greg is stating that these people are signed to him or have already made a contract agreement. They're obliging to something. He calls, said person. The person has not signed with anything. They haven't even sent them the contract. So Jim's saying, well, have them send you the contract, send it to me so I can see this, because it's just ridiculous. Now, at some point in this video also, too, and I believe it was his partner here, Brian, that brought it up, was very much on the point of who else they had signed. So an example, hey, we want to make a figure of somebody who was very legendary, very, well known, and they're no longer around, so we're going to go to the family. Well, the family is stating, well, you got to do this and this and this and this. And basically what they're stating is, these people are coming in and going, yeah, no problem. We just want to really make this one figure, but we'll make an agreement with you that we're going to make 15 other wrestling, names that came from your lineage, your name, your family name. And as they're stating, we're probably never going to see those people. We're going to see the main person they wanted. That's going to be, evident up front and center. And these other people are more than likely probably not going to be seen. And I don't know where that was stated in here.
So they did, he did, they did, and he did. And I looked at it. And just from without knowing about the Disney and the years, that was a big help to them.
Figures for the first series, and part of the reason was they made 5,000 that were defective. So I hate them.
Yeah, and so now Brian is just talking about the first series there. And I'm not going to go too much further into this, guys. Trying to bounce around in this video. I'm sure I'll never pinpoint the exact spots where I want to be. But, stating that even in their first series of figures, they had figures that were no good, that had issues, which is why. So, to make a long story short, when I was able to receive my free figures, because if you had purchased or pre-ordered a full set of the second Powertown wave, they would allow you to get 2 free figures. Same thing if you pre-ordered the Remco wave or whatever, but it was only 1 per person. So I was very fortunate. I actually made 2 separate purchases, one for the Series 2 Ultras, one for the TNA Series 1 Ultras, but they were through 2 separate accounts. So it was just by luck, I was able to get 4 free Powertown figures. And like I said, I think I have 2 or 3 of them still left for sale, one of which is none other than the Bruiser Brody. And the reason why, like Brian was just stating with the 50,000 figures that went out that were actually no good because the legs fell off, I have one of the Bruiser Brodies that has the sticker stamp on it, which it says for like display use only or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it said. But I had already opened one of them to do a unboxing and review on the channel. So I said, well, you know what? I think it's cool that this one has this sticker on it, even if it means the figure's essentially not good or it could be bad. But I was like, it's cool. It's a part of, the history of it. It's something different. So I kept that Bruiser Brody, and the one that I had opened and unboxed on the channel is, all nice back in the package. And he's up for sale on the MERCARI. But like I said, guys, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer with this. This is a 25-minute video almost in and of itself, and I'm replying to what was basically almost a 27-minute video. So I think we've done enough talking here. But essentially, as I say, and as I continue to digress from this, it is just one of those things where, what is the fate of Powertown? What is really going on with all of this? What is the end result to this Powertown saga? It has been nothing but a mess. We have not been able to get any straight answers. And as Jim Cornette continues to tell the stories and the tales of Greg Gainzz, I am not very hopeful of what is to come. So as much as I would love to say, hey, get your Powertown orders in, pre-order what you can, see what you can find, go buy this, go buy that, support them at any cost. I think at this point, unless we have to review something else, unless something else comes up between now and either happiness or disappointment, either between now and delivery or dismissal, whatever it may be, I am going to have to just say that, at this point, it is out of our hands, unfortunately. But I'll tell you what is in our hands, and that is the Legends of Professional Wrestling by Figure Toy Company, and that is Jim Cornette. It's right in front of you here. You can go to figuretoycompany.com. You can go to their eBay site. You can go to Jim Cornette's page directly, like I said, right to his website. You can get figures of Jim Cornette at all 3 of those locations. And also remember, too, way back in the day, I do believe we did get a WWF Jim Cornette figure. It was not the greatest, but it is out there. And I got to say, I could be wrong. But I think before TNA originally stopped making their line the first time around, not the Marvel toys, but I mean the second time around, the Jakks version, I think there was a Jim Cornette that was actually supposed to come out at one point. Man, I'll tell you what, I would have loved that. I would love to have a Jim Cornette from his very early years, which is kind of more so what we have in front of us with this Legends of Professional Wrestling. I'd like to have him as a more, WWF time frame. I'd love to have him as in a TNA time frame. And I'd even love to have a figure of him right now, modern Jim Cornette. Wouldn't that be cool, huh? That would be something right there. But as always, guys, this video, like I said, it is unfortunate that we're not getting better news. It is unfortunate that we don't have more answers. Unfortunately, we have put out the money and we are just not getting anything back. But I guess we will see how things continue to play out. As always, I want to give a big shout out to each and every single one of you for joining me here for this little table talk, this TED Talk. Who knows what it is? It's some type of casual conversation, but we're here. and we're talking about it. We're getting it out there on the airwaves. So I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here with me. If it is your first video, get over to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. Videos every single day. Leave me a comment below. What do you think about Powertown? What do you think about Jim Cornette? And also, guys, like I've already said, make sure you get over to the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to Jim Cornette as well, because he's always got great videos every single day, or I mean, I'd say multiple videos every single day. So definitely get over to him on his channel and check that out. Until the next one, guys, stay safe, stay tuned, and stay away from Powertown.